Well, happy Friday, everybody. I'm Nick Slavic. I'm the proprietor of the Nick Slavic Painting and Restoration Company. I'm also the host of this show, Ask a Painter Live. It's a weekly live Facebook show where I use my over 2 decades as a craftsman and an entrepreneur to answer any of your questions. So basically, homeowners, DIYers, fellow painters, anything you want to discuss, we are here for today. It's an open show. I don't have all the answers, but I'm connected with the greatest group of professional paint contractors, craftsmen from all over the world. If I don't have the answer, these people do. And I'm already seeing the names line up. Michael Crane, Philip Varga, Phil Klein, all these. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. We have a PCA contractor question of the week this week that deals with graffiti. Oh, Peter Balafast from Down Under. We're going to go over graffiti, dealing with graffiti. We will take any question, any topic. Oh, there we go, Matt Varga. And then I am going to paint this antique dining room table, and I have a lot more to say about it. It's a very timely piece. It's a very interesting thing. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And I'm seeing all your questions, Steve-O. Just get those questions, get those comments listed down below, and we're going to get to those things. But first off, thank you to the PCA, the Painting Contractors Association. It used to be called the PDCA. Now the PCA, they are the best, the biggest group of professional paint business entrepreneurs and craftspeople I would consider in the world. It's an amazing group, and ever since I got involved with them about 4 or 5 years ago, my eyes have been opened, and a lot of the progression in business and in craft has come from that. So Fernando, bom dia, my friend. Love to see you guys. Mike Danahy. So yeah, let's talk about graffiti quick. We'll answer some questions, and then we're going to get to spraying this stuff, which is going to be insanely fun. And I got a story to tell you about this table back here. So there's pieces kind of spread out all over here. It's a double pedestal, 2-leaf, 2-section. This is an awesome table. We'll get to that. It's really cool. So dealing with graffiti. Number one, paint over it if you can. If it's a brick structure or something else, you obviously maybe can't paint over it, but what you can do is use either smart strip or a chemical stripper. Around here, you can still get the old methylene chloride stripper, not for long, and it's very dangerous, so you got to take a lot of sort of precautions as far as this goes. A much better way to go is like the smart strip, citrus strip, things like that. Apply that stuff super heavy to it if it's a rough surface. I like to use plastic over the top and then duct tape the plastic around it. It keeps it wet. As soon as stripper, Dominic Crowley, what's up, man, from across the pond. Love following Dominic's work. So keep that stripper wet. I would leave it overnight, sometime even 2 or 3 days. You take a nylon bristle brush and a hose, start getting that off, capture everything that comes off of it. You may have to do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 applications to get it off, depending how porous the situation is. When you do get it off, there are a whole bunch of these really cool preventative sort of clear coatings, membranes, things you can put on a building that doesn't affect the building, the look of the building, but it does also make graffiti come off really easily. So when you do finally get this stuff off, and it may be a combination of, like I said, stripper, you may have to get a little bit of other little soft chemicals to work with that. Try not to discolor the surface behind it, and then if it's a common problem, I would definitely put one of those clear graffiti, anti-graffiti solutions, something like that. A whole bunch of the big companies use them. Start with Sherwin and work your way from there to get it. So, all right, guys, let's go. Dominic, love for watching your work. Okay. Let's see what everybody's doing here. We'll answer a few questions, and I'll tell you an awesome story about this table. Then we're going to paint it. So, here we go. Matt Varga, question about the recession. Let's face it. Out of all the trades, painting is one that would be hardest hit compared to electrical, plumbing, HVAC, or even carpentry work. How far outside of your wheelbase are you willing to go in order to insulate your business from a downturn, or do you have solutions? So, I have lots of thoughts, Matthew. And Matthew, awesome viewer. We spoke recently. He's doing really cool things. First off, I will say this. Do not let a downturn, a recession, a something loom over your head. If everybody knew when that was going to happen, you would short the stock market and retire a very rich person. Nobody knows when it's going to happen, and in fact, in rules of economics, you don't always know you're in one of these things until you look back. You're going to have all these feelings, but once you're in it, you need data to look back and actually say, oh, okay, I guess we are now. So, my number one thought is if you run a real business with good business principles, you have a way of marketing your work to generate leads, you will not be affected by this greatly. Now, the bigger the business you are, the more greatly you're going to be affected just because of numbers, percentages, things like that. But anybody who has 10 or less employees in the painting industry, I would consider, if you're smart and you run tight business practices now, you will not need to change your practices in order to go through the recession. Now, having said that, it may not be as easy to find work, but I will say this: when I talk about contractors who made it through the last recession, it was a big surprise to most people. Almost everybody was unprepared. Nobody knew what to do. It was 2 to 3 years into it. They finally reacted and they had lessons learned, and then they moved on. I will tell you this, for all the people in the Business Brush group, things like that, who run tight businesses already, it could actually be beneficial to you, because think of all these paint businesses that are not prepared for it. They have employees, maybe even the owner. You can absorb them into your company. You can work with them. You can partner with them. People are still going to paint their house. I mean, I started this business in 2007. So maybe ignorance is bliss. Maybe I didn't know the difference. Maybe, it was just one of those things where, you're too stupid to understand what's going on. But I had a thriving business all through that. Oh, Fernando, hey, how's it going, everybody? So I will tell you this. I would not stray away from that, because you're just compounding your solution, your problems right here. I have so many more thoughts, Matthew. I'm going to get to some other questions, but first I'll say, don't worry about it. Number two, you don't need to prepare for a recession any more than you need to prepare for business right now. If you're doing all the things you need to do right now, you will feel it, but it will not be a catastrophe for you. And lots more thoughts. I'd love to talk with you. Michael Crane, happy Thanksgiving, man. Steve-O, how's it going? Mike Danahy. Oh, Mike Danahy and I exchanged a few messages this morning. So Fernando, bom dia. Love all you guys down there in Brazil. Alex, thanks a lot for watching, man. Dominic, Judy, Slavic, Tina, Trainer Tina, Craftsman Tina's on there. Fernando Fritas, Patrick Santucci, how's it going, man? Tim Milner, Athena, thanks for watching. Joey Bernesser, CF Painting. Oh, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. Matt, yeah, let's talk more. So I thought I would tell you guys about this table back here. So growing up, there is a public radio, obviously, and yesterday was Thanksgiving, and there's a show on public radio called Turkey Confidential, and a certain very famous chef and radio host hosted that show for decades, and just recently retired, and she happened to be a client of mine, and I had the honor of doing one of the most famous sort of food writers, radio personalities, I had the honor of doing her kitchen, and we took great pains to make sure that we gave her the best finish, the hardest finish. She absolutely loved what we did. We were in a high-rise in downtown St. Paul, Minnesota. It was such a fun job. Now she has furniture and other stuff for us, and you know me, I'm a restorationist. This table has 2 of these, 2 leaves, 2 end section, half round, a whole bunch of other stuff. It's a big, beautiful mahogany, sort of inlaid, sort of a table like this. I'm a restorationist. I'm a lover of everything old, but I am not a purist. If this thing was a historically significant table, if it was all solid mahogany, if it was made somewhere past the 1880s, 90s, 1900, I would definitely reconsider doing something to this. She purchased this table for the sole reason of painting it, because she loves the light, bright airiness. And when you purchase stuff like this, antiques like this are super, super cheap, inexpensive, and plentiful. Now, it still are not free, but the construction of these things is unbelievable. And if you want to find something to be painted, if you buy anything made within the last 10 years, you're going to have to pay an arm and a leg for it to get solid wood and all this other stuff. This stuff is an insanely solid table, but it is mahogany veneered and inlaid and all this. Having said that, it's one of the better examples I've seen, but it is not historically significant. It is not something that's from 1803, the 1700s, things like that. It is not that significant, so I don't feel bad about painting it, especially because it's not a family heirloom. It doesn't have any provenance. It was manufactured in just a warehouse, a facility, a factory, and this wasn't a handmade, bespoke sort of something. Oh, Lucas, Bumgia, my friend, love all you guys. So basically what we're gonna do is I have it all prepped out. We went through a process called SVT, sand, vac, and tack. I've sanded all this down. I vacuumed it all off, and I've tack ragged it off. Now, I have a special strategy for tabletops and things like this. This one had a beautiful, almost piano lacquer job on it. It was crazed, it was cracked, it's old, it's ancient, the sun had beaten on it. It was still a fairly okay sort of finish, but it took a lot to get it off. Now, our normal process, like when I did with the legs and the undersides, was just a quick SVT. We just scuff sand it, clean it up, make sure it's some tooth. With the table tops, because this is for this person who cooking and being a chef and writing about this stuff is their life. I want to make sure that of all tables, this thing is going to get used by lots of people, lots of parties, things like that. So what I did was actually strip all the finish off the tops of these tables because I wanted bare wood to be exposed, so that when I put on my oil primer, that oil primer not only will have a mechanical tooth with the sanding, but it will actually have a chemical bond with the wood. It'll seep in there, bond with that wood, so that we won't get any chips for her. And so that was my strategy. You certainly don't need to do that. Like, I'll show you the other pieces here. I have them all staged up, ready to go. You definitely don't need to do that for maybe the undersides of the table. Those things don't get a lot of finish. They're almost bare wood anyway, so I scuff sanded them. But tabletops, definitely. I took the time to strip all of it off, and you can see bare mahogany right here. So let's see if we got any more questions, and if not, we're gonna spray this sucker and we're gonna call it a week. But I thought it was an interesting tie-in because this person hosted the Turkey Confidential show. I listen to it every Thanksgiving as we're preparing on public radio, and it just so happens that she found me a table. She does not do the show anymore. Another person does who's very good, but I have her table in here right around Thanksgiving. I thought it was a tie-in. Ever since I was a little kid, I used to listen to that show. So I'm gonna suit up, get protective stuff on, and we're gonna prime this stuff. So what I'll do first is to stage this stuff. I have all the brass parts. I've taken it all apart. It had solid brass parts on all of it. I'm gonna polish those up for her. I've organized everything, gotten it out of the way. I've even taken the slides out, the expandable slides for the table, and done that. We got everything ready. We're gonna do the two pedestals first. We're gonna do the two leaves first, and then the last final things will be the beautiful curved sort of end pieces. So Michael Crane, what are we going to use today? I'm going to be using cover stain thin 10% today. This is a recent change to my standard operating procedure that I've done. I'm not a big fan of thinning coatings, but I've seen a marked increase in the smoothness of a finish when you take oil primer, and today we're using cover stain, thin it 10%. 20% and above, it starts losing its coverage properties, adhesion properties, and stain blocking properties that I found in my samples. But anywhere under that, and I kind of like 10%, it gives a much more smooth finish. And we're using a 10-year-old, 12-year-old Titan pump. We are using let's see what we got here. We got a Graco gun and a Graco FFLP. I think I'm gonna use about a 312 today because we're gonna lay it on a little thick, but yeah, other than that, man, I'm gonna safety up, and I'll be checking comments as we go here. And happy Thanksgiving to everybody. You guys know I could not be more grateful for all the interaction. I mean, we got people from Ireland, England, Australia on this show right now, Brazil, all my friends. This is amazing. And don't ever think that I'm not grateful for all the interaction we have. I have grown as a person so much since this show has started because of the interactions of people like you guys. And not to mention Wisconsin, Michael Crane. So even though it's not that an exotic location, it's still fun to talk to all you guys. So I'm gonna safety up, we're gonna spray this stuff, and I just want you guys to know how grateful I am. I hope you guys had a happy Thanksgiving, and as we get into the holiday season here, I do appreciate everybody. So.
Safety, safety, safety. Oh, Alex, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it. Dominic, love watching oil being sprayed. Listen, man, if anybody doesn't follow Dominic Crowley, follow that dude. He's got a private account on Instagram and Facebook, but that dude does some satisfying stuff. So, all right, guys, here we go. Spraying oil. Yeah, Dominic. Still got it, man. All right. You can see the beautiful mahogany. Tina's asking, what do you do for employees for Christmas? You know this better than anybody. We have a big blowout, big Christmas party at our local brewery. Get the whole event catered, open tab. We have awards. We have a little presentation. It's a good time, Tina. All right. Connor, how's it going, man? Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Oh yeah, Mike Danny. Last year we sang a Christmas carol. Last year I painted an entire bedroom live while my people watched it, and I wouldn't do that to them again. What pressure? So this one is, I don't have a pressure indicator on this one. It's just the, you know, the green, the yellow, the red, give or take, and we're probably at about 1100 psi, give or take. If I had to, I got some that do have them, and this is probably about 1100 psi. I'm using a 312 Graco FFLP, Dominic. Oh, Graham McKay, how's it going, man? Monty, how's it going, man? Jade, how are you? Eric, good to see everybody. Hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. And that beautiful kind of inlaid stuff. A good table. Here we go. All right, folks.
Oh, that's it for today. Thank you everybody for watching. I appreciate everybody's support with this stuff. You all have a good rest of the long weekend. Enjoy some time with the family. And if you like this show, please share it. Get more people like-minded just like us on here so we can keep sharing these thoughts and attempt to change this industry. So we'll talk to you guys later.